Hello Cat, welcome to my channel. Today we are playing The Letter. Previously, Zach found a creepy photo. And like the good Samaritans we are, we're like, we're going to tell Hannah. Mostly because I chose that option and I didn't know where telling Ashton would get us, so. Also, Hannah's pretty cool. But then it made me regret choosing Luke. Yeah. Life, I guess. And now we kind of showed up at her doorstep at stupid o'clock in the morning, and of course Luke was not too happy with us, understandably though. I mean, he's a jerk, but it's understandable, his reservations about us. And now we're going to see where this conversation leads us. Alright, that's pretty much where we left off. Let us continue.
Besides, I don't think an interior design magazine would be interested in who harassed who this week. Unless it has something to do with fighting over tastefully arranged furniture.
Does it have to be tastefully arranged?
But even then, I don't think our readers will be too interested.
Oh, dearie. You've got a lot to learn. You really have no idea how a single tassel can ignite a spark in a crowd. Of course, at the end of the day, it's still the thought that counts. It's still a lovely anniversary gift from my husband. No matter. Let's just go.
What did he get us for our anniversary? She doesn't wait for an answer and immediately wanders over a car parked some distance from us. Unsure, I find myself trailing after her. A chauffeur automatically opens the passenger side door. As she nears, and she gestures for me to follow when she climbs into the back seat.
To where are we going exactly?
Apparently we're doing girl stuff, as Luke has said.
I need to get out of this stuffy house for a while. Moving in, planning the party. It's starting to get suffocating in there. Luke and Hansi can have their fun while I'm gone. I don't care. I'm getting out because I can. Another minute in there and I'll drown.
My bike.
There are, of course, a lot of things questionable about her invitation. Why she's asking a person she has only known for less than 2 days in the first place is one. How appropriate this is being another. But the rest of it crashes the moment she shoots me an imploring look.
Please? I can have someone send it back to your address later. And it's just a trip to the city for some furniture, nothing more, I assure you. Marianne will be with us, and maybe you can tell me why you're here on the way.
Was another person there? Fantabulous.
Guess it wouldn't hurt. I might have to leave early, though.
Excellent, then. Hop in. That's what they often say, yes?
Oh yes, us peasants do say that quite often indeed. This can't be a good idea, but I really don't have any other choice, do I? Do we? Are they going to give us one? If so, we're still getting in the car, so no, you don't have a choice. Especially with the way her eyes light up when I agree to it. In my pocket, the very picture of her remains faceless. A voiceless shadow hanging threatening between us, a note to her. It's a ghost. Am I the voiceless shadow? October 27th, Thursday. Journal updated. Let us read you, Monsieur Journal. Disturbed, Zachary decides to show the photograph to Hannah herself. He was greeted by the wary Luke Wright upon arriving on the mansion. At the mansion, even. Just in time, Hannah appeared to save Zachary from further interrogation. At her request, Zach accompanied her to Luxembourg City. You calling it Luxembourg? It's Luxembourg. If someone told me I'd be spending my entire morning being dragged around half of downtown Luxembourg looking for furniture, I probably would have simply smiled at them. Perhaps even given them a good friendly pat on the shoulder and wished them a nice day. Not that I find anything wrong with this at all. On the contrary, this is most definitely a nice change of pace after weeks of getting bogged down by several freelance gigs and shutting myself inside my apartment whenever I can. If only the weather would be a whole lot nicer, the kind with less sun and more clouds, perhaps? With the mid-morning sun slowly beating down on us as high noon approaches, I can see why Mr. Wright skipped out on this trip. The bright side is, the whole thing seems to have put Miss Wright in a less somber mood. Also, should she be Mrs. Wright if she's married? After the 5th store, her pace is considerably livelier, her gestures less guarded than the one she displayed at the mansion earlier. The presence of another person might have helped as well, although Miss McCollum seems less predisposed to small talk, preferring to keep to herself most of the time and let Miss Wright lead us wherever. She did acknowledge me with a small nod when we were introduced earlier. That didn't make standing outside the store together any less awkward, while we wait for our client to finish her inquiry inside.
So, interior design, huh?
You designs interiors and what's not? Is that how this conversation is going to go? She cast me a sidelong glance before returning to her notes again, her pen scratching faintly against the paper in quick successive strokes. Ah, there goes that. I did say I'm not good at starting or keeping conversations going, didn't I? She doesn't look back up again, and I take that as my cue to stop any attempt of striking a dialogue with her, and keep myself occupied with some other thing. Except what we have here is just Luxbourne and its busy streets. People going about their day like normal, cars moving in and out of sight, heading to who knows where. Nothing remarkable, really. The ease with which a person can fade into the background here is reflective of the kind of city Luxbourne will always be. But the humdrum's one thing I learned to live with. Needless to say, it doesn't usually stay that way. There are times when it would come alive, make itself known, and reassert itself back to the world. However, those moments are few and far in between. Then again, with what races the news channels lately, I'm starting to think it's going to happen sooner. Can't say I'm looking forward to that, to what it'll bring.
Luxury living, is it?
Her voice effectively cuts through my thoughts, just as I count the 13 passerby wearing a hat today. Beside me, I can hear the faint rustling of paper and clicking of her pen as she stashes it back into her bag.
Excuse me, what?
The magazine you're working for. It's Luxury Living, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. You've been featured by them before, I take it?
A few years back, yes, for just some issues. My designs still appear from time to time, though not as frequent as before. Gotta have room for new talents, right?
It may not show in her face, but the pride is evident in her voice.
Good folks, the people running the publication. Tell me, is DK still on the editorial team?
I wouldn't know. I've only started taking jobs from them this year. Freelancer, you know.
Good man, that guy. Anyone in our field should meet him. He had a lot of things to say about art, all of them relevant. Learned a lot from him, actually, even if we both came from 2 different fields. I hope he's in a good place. I haven't talked to him in a while. Anyway, your portfolio must have been good if they gave you the job. They don't easily assign big features to freelancers like this.
Unless they're scared of him. Like, hey, what guy can we afford to just let die? Oh, that new freelancer? Perfect. Send him to the death house. And then that's what they did.
I wouldn't say I am, but experienced, you know? The more you practice it, the more you learn the tricks of the trade. That kind of stuff.
Practice makes perfect.
I know what you mean. Still, you've got to keep up with the competition. Each year, a new talent emerges, and, well, you never know. Clients can be a bit fickle-minded with their choices. Believe me. Speaking of, do you think you'd be up for a new client after this?
I think so. It depends on how big the project is.
She reaches into her bag again. This time to pull out a business card, which she hands over to me. Marianne McCullough. Shirley Rhodes Designs. Interior designer McCullough xmail.com +445 387 071836. That's a very long phone number.
When you're free, send your portfolio to Chris. He's my assistant. He's been looking for a decent photographer to help with updating the studio's portfolio. Nothing urgent, But the sooner the better.
Not sure if I'll have the time to squeeze this in. But, alright, I'll give it a go once.
Marianne, could you look this over for me?
At that very moment, Miss Wright emerges from the store. When I look back to Miss McCullough, a mask of professionalism is returned to her. Or at least, that is what it is trying to be. There's a different light in her eyes as she faces her, a flicker of familiarity and recognition. I'd say it's fondness, but that would be too presumptuous. Whatever it is doesn't last and is briskly swept under the firm tone her voice assumes.
Definitely. Is there a problem?
They said they don't have the colors you suggested. Do you think we can change it around for a bit? It might take a while if we insist what we want, and you know I'd rather not worry about this later.
I think it'd be better if I handle this one myself.
Oh, and she's pulling on her glove. She means business right now.
Excuse me.
She is going to get whatever that thing is that they're doing. Silver, was it? Something like that? Whatever. She walks into the shop without another word, leaving the two of us standing outside. As soon as she's out of earshot, however, Miss Wright lets out a giggle and swipes the business card cleanly off my hand. She smiles and bemused little things spreading across her face and leaves the card in front of me. I wish she'll do that more often, the smile thing. It suits her more than the other one she frequently shows to the media.
I look away, and the next thing I know, you're picking up women. On the streets, while the sun is high, no less. I'm not sure if I should be appalled or amazed.
Yes, the answer is yes to both.
Whatever happened to the Zach I met a day ago? About as tall as you. Photographer. Quite the gentleman. To tell you the truth, I'm a bit disappointed he's gone.
It ain't like that, Miss Wright.
Oh, he's so cute.
And I'm sure Miss McCullough is not the kind of woman to let herself be picked up by strangers, let alone people she barely knows.
Oh, shush. Let me have my fun. And didn't I say you can call me Hannah? This right after you introduced yourself as my friend in front of my husband. I do believe this isn't how friends address each other. Too formal, don't you think?
She gives the card back to me nevertheless, and with it, her mood fades into a more pensive one. An odd look settles on her face, yearning, a bit wistful, as she looks back towards the shop's display window. There's nothing remotely interesting in it for me when I follow her line of sight, though. A few trinkets there, and there, a fur rug, a sofa, a wooden side table, and lamp, all tastefully picked and arranged to resemble a typical antique living room. On second thought, it does look comfortable. But why they added a crib inside, it baffles me. Ah, that's the thing she's looking at. Unless, of course, the people they're hoping to market to are those who already have children or are about to have one, then maybe it is fitting. Peculiar choice of decoration aside, it does make for a nice icebreaker, if it's not one of the same level of weird and completely out of the blue. It's still leagues better than the awkward silence, which is definitely too out of character for a personality like Miss Hannah's. How should I start the conversation? Do you think a crib would make a good gift? I think that one looks cute. I don't know how I feel about these. Do you think your crib would make a good gift? I think that one looks cute. I feel like this one leads to more conversation because it's a question. And this one's a statement. But what impact it has on the story, I have no idea. I'll go with the question.
My sister just had a baby, you know.
She tears her attention away from the window and looks at me with an incredulous expression on her face. Like I just asked her to drive off a cliff. She relaxes eventually, but I can't get that image of her like that out of my head. I hope I didn't say anything too
Oh, what brought this on?
Nothing. It's just a thought. She gave birth a few weeks ago.
I suppose a congratulations is in order then.
Thanks. I'll let her know. Do you think a crib would make a good gift?
I'm sure she'd love that if she doesn't have one yet. Otherwise, maybe clothes. Or things she can use to care for the baby. You realize I'm the last person you should be asking about this, yes?
Oh, it's her first baby, don't you worry. I haven't bought a gift yet since I'm kinda new to this too, you know? The whole being an uncle thing.
Oh, Uncle Zach.
For a long time, it's just been me, Sis, and my grandparents. Now there's a little person who came into this world as part of the family. Who'd have thought, huh?
Please don't tell me you're jealous.
Oh, of course not.
Oh.
But I gotta admit, the very idea takes a lot of getting used to, and, you know, scary stuff like what if I drop her, or end up teaching her something bad, or I just can't stop making her cry, or...
Something warm presses against my arm, gentle as it can be, which stops the rest of my words from coming out. Her hand, I realize belatedly. When I look at her, there's nothing but warmth in her smile. She's been doing that a lot this past few hours, and I can't help but return it to her.
Zach, sweetie, stop. You're panicking. It's going to be fine.
I don't know, Hannah. Maybe I'm not cut out to be a good uncle.
Don't be silly. You'll probably be the best one there is. Might even make a good father when the time comes. Whoever you choose to be with will be lucky to have someone like you, I'm sure.
At this, her expression softens, sadness floating into her eyes for a little while before she looks away.
I'm the one who's worried if I'll ever make a good mother. Luke doesn't seem to even want one of our own. How pitiful is that? 7 years and we're still at this point. I don't even know what to call it anymore. Now I'm carrying this other life with me while the father doesn't want anything to do with it.
And she casually just told us that she was pregnant.
What am I going to do, Zach? Because right now I'm absolutely at a loss.
Oh.
A beat.
Oh!
I was like, what was with the oh reaction? Realization strikes me, like a ton of bricks suddenly bearing down on me. More than astonishment must have shown in my face because Hannah lets out a chuckle. The slump on her shoulder disappears altogether underneath her mirth.
Don't look so surprised, dearie. Tied the knot 7 years ago, remember? Don't you think it's bound to happen?
She brandishes her hand in front of me, the unassuming silver band on her finger glinting against the late morning sunlight for a second. She eyes it lovingly, almost tenderly, despite the trace of sadness in her voice. For all I know, there's an entire story there. I'd ask, but what would be too inappropriate even for friends? But that would be too inappropriate even for friends. It's not my place to meddle to begin with.
Or at least that's what they've been saying early on. My whole social circle would be saying it's a long time coming.
But the kid is something you want, right? Because if it ain't, then that's a whole other problem.
Of course. I wouldn't deny I've been hoping to have him or her for a long time now. But then, now that we're here, all of a sudden, there are a whole lot of other things to be worried about. Business, a new home, public image, my own husband, and I don't know. I didn't really have anyone for a role model. I practically grew up with nursemaids pampering me every step of the way. What if it happens to this baby as well? Oh, I can already see how this will end.
Huh. I guess it's not just my sister.
What?
You and my sister. I mean, you're both having jitters or something like that. That's what it's called, right? First baby jitters?
I don't know if that's I guess that could be a name for it.
Mind you, she was really convinced she'd do everything wrong then. He even called me in the middle of the night. Asked to switch places the day she found out she's carrying a new member of the family. Never mind how utterly impossible her request is.
I'm quite sure I haven't done anything of that sort yet.
Yet?
Oh, you don't know that? My brother-in-law has been telling me things 5 weeks into my sister's pregnancy. Since she's one cranky pregnant lady. Man, Good thing I found a place for myself years before that bundle of joy arrived, huh?
It can't be that awful.
Who knows? I think we'd better leave it for Mr. Right to decide, yeah?
Provided he comes around. He just sounds so repulsed every time the idea is brought up.
Then maybe you should say it to his face. No mincing of words or beating around the bushes.
And if he says no?
Screw him. It's your body.
You haven't even told him yet. Besides, that's his kid. Don't people usually say fatherhood changes men?
I guess they do.
I wouldn't call myself a living testament, of course. But there ought to be something that will hit him in that idea alone.
A wrecking ball would be nice.
Yeah, but then he would die. Laughter escapes me before I can stop it. And for a moment I thought I have done something wrong when she doesn't join in. He's still her husband no matter what jests or complaints she hurls about him behind the media's eyes or in the presence of people she trusts. But when she does, her chuckle, a small hesitant sound at first, I find the rest of my unease slipping away.
Well, whatever it is, my point is, you've got no idea what will happen. In the same way, you don't know if you'll be a good mom. Trust me, my sister's been there. It's perfectly normal. If, my opinion matters, though.
A long second of indecision goes by. I can feel her eyes filled with nothing but curiosity, pouring into me while she waits for the rest. It's just a simple sentiment, but one thing I think she needs to hear, for all the doubts she unwittingly placed on herself. I'm just not sure if it should come from me. I'll be damned.
I think you'll be a great mother, Hannah.
Okay, are we going to talk about the ghosts, though? That is what our initial plan was. There's a whole lot of not talking about ghosts right now. If she has an answer to that, I don't get to hear it, nor does she get to say it. As soon as it's out of my mouth, the bell hanging over the antique store's door chimes. Now comes Miss McCullough. For more than one reason, I have never been so relieved our talk got interrupted.
Everything's been taken care of for tomorrow, Mrs. Wright. We'll have everything you requested delivered early. I've left them instructions, but I may have to visit again right before your housewarming party to check for a few things. I hope that's acceptable to you?
More than Marianne. This is a little early to say, but you did marvelous work with the mansion. I can't wait to see all of it come together tomorrow.
I'm only doing my job, ma'am. Needless to say, it's always a pleasure to hear a client is satisfied with my work.
Nonsense! You have every reason to be proud. I know you've already established your name here, but I'll still make sure word gets out, of course. I think I've got a few friends who might be interested in decorating their homes. I'll see if I can introduce you to them tomorrow.
I really don't want to impose, Mrs. Wright. There's still a lot to be done, and I'd rather be keeping an eye on it myself.
You know well enough I'll still do it. You too, Monsieur le Photographe. You better be the one taking the pictures for the event tomorrow, or I'll be very upset.
Ah, so that's why he showed up to the party. Everything's connecting-ish. I blink at her confused. Last I checked, I have nothing scheduled on my plate tomorrow. A couple of fleeting thoughts did cross my mind, like working on personal projects, but with the expectant expression on Hannah's face alone. I've wondered before how they got Isabella to sell them the mansion with all the paperwork and the loops it has to go through. Well, now, the how is already standing in front of me, and it's one giant ball of persuasion in human form. If I have any doubts how she got around life, all of them have been dispelled right this instant. Hannah hasn't said anything yet, but I already know that my answer will be...
What event?
Our housewarming party, dearie. I've already sent invites through your publisher. They should have informed you of it by now.
I may have probably missed it. I haven't gotten the chance to check my mailbox yet. Deadlines, real-life happenings, you know, they can be pretty hectic. I'll try later, but they might have already assigned it to a different photographer if they haven't received my reply yet.
Not if Hana has something to say about it.
That's not a problem. Nothing a little call from me can't fix. I'll have them know I'm specifically requesting for your presence. It shouldn't be too hard.
Yep, that's what I thought.
Just promise me you'll show up. I expect to see you both there. No excuses.
Good company, good music, good food. Of course I'll be there.
Lovely. I hope we have that settled then. I'd love to stay and chat, but unfortunately I have an appointment scheduled with the doctors after this.
Okay, yeah, but what about the ghost photo?
You two will have to excuse me.
Are you feeling fine, ma'am?
It's nothing big.
There is a short while in which her hand faintly touches her stomach when she says this. Her smile as she does so, a tender thing in itself. She might never let it cross her mind, but motherhood would suit her. The kid is already loved, even when he or she has yet to have a sense of the world. Candid moments like this, I wish I brought a camera for.
Sorry we had to cut this short. I'd love to have lunch with you two, but, well, you two know how it goes.
It's quite fine, Mrs. Wright. I need to get going as well.
Is it somewhere far from here? I can have my driver drop you off on the way.
No, please. There's no need for that, Mrs. Wright. It's just within the city.
I see. What about you, Zach? We did leave your push bike at the mansion. Don't worry, I'll have someone bring it to your home later.
Nah, I live within the city too. A few blocks from here, in fact. I only visited earlier because...
The thing that we were supposed to talk about that we never did. The photos. Damn. Completely forgotten about them. My hand grazes the side of my pocket where I've kept them since this morning. And sure enough, they're still there, waiting for the whole world to see them.
Because? Zach, sweetie, you're zoning out.
Miss Hana, earlier, at the mansion.
Should I still show her the photos? Show her the pictures, never mind. Huh. I mean, it is what we came here for, right? Right, let's just do it. She's probably going to be like, oh, whatever, it's nothing, blah, blah, blah. British quick.
I think it will be better if you take a look at these yourself.
Pretty as a picture. New is it going down or up? It went down. Oh, she likes us less. Seeing is believing, right? I reach into my pocket and pull out the photos, handing everything to her. Recognition flickers across her eyes when she reaches for them, and I have to stamp down the tiny twinge of regret in my stomach for having the gall to show it to her. Only it gets deeper the instant both her and Miss McCall's expressions changes, and it's not a good look. To say she's repulsed would be a total understatement. All this time, Hana has been nothing but direct, saying what she feels, expressing what she wants. Away from the glamour and the camera lenses, she's a whole different person. But as she goes through each of the pictures, I can't get an easy read on her.
Zach, dearie, what is this?
Your photos. The ones you requested copies of. I mean, they came out that way and I thought you should know.
Oh, I get it. You know, I've heard before that artists can be a bit weird. Have you ever gotten that kind of comment, Marianne?
Not in my line of work, I'm afraid. Or ever, Mrs. Wright. I'd rather keep my personal hobbies away from my actual work. Less stress that way.
Well, I suppose it just never crossed my mind that the saying applies to you as well, Zach. But talent's what's important, As long as you make good art, it doesn't matter.
Oh, no, that's... You see, when we had that photo shoot yesterday, there was something.
I wouldn't say I don't appreciate it. I did ask for copies, darling. But would it be possible for you to give me normal-looking ones? Preferably with my head intact.
Well, let us finish our sentence, lady.
I admire the effort you took to edit this, though. It looks authentic.
Well, because it is.
Frankly, if I show this to some other person, they'd probably believe those silly rumors about the mansion. Good publicity, but not the kind I'd want for my new home. So please.
She drops them back in my hands, like their very surface burned hers.
If you could redo this, that would be wonderful. I'm positive you can do a better job than the one you just showed.
Ah, well, that didn't go too well, but hopefully it pays off in the future. Anyways, we'll see how it goes in the next episode. I am Chipoka. If you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. Have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon.